Every single January, millions of people fall for the exact same trap. They think discipline means suffering. They think the harder it feels, the better the results will be. So they jump into this fitness challenge that they may see online. You've probably heard of the 75-day hard challenge, where you do all these crazy fitness challenges in a span of 75 days, which includes 2 workouts a day, no flexibility, no life outside of the gym. And 75 days later, they're completely burnt out, injured, binge eating, and heavier than when they started. Now, I have coached hundreds of men who have tried these stupid fitness challenges, the 75-day hard, keto challenges, intermittent fasting, you name it. And I have lived this myself. I used to think extreme discipline was the answer too. Now, in this video, I'll show you why extreme challenges 9 times out of 10 always fail. What actually causes not just fat loss, but sustainable fat loss. So you don't just lose the fat, but you keep it off for good. And what you should do instead if you actually want real results as we head into 2026. I'm going to break this down into 3 parts. Number 1, why 75 hard feels effective but backfires afterwards. What science says about sustainability and fat loss. And then lastly, the simple system that actually works long-term. Nothing complicated here. Anyone can do this. So let's start with part 1. Why 75 hard feels powerful, but fails long-term. Because let's be honest here, 75 hard feels elite, right? It feels hardcore. You're doing all these cold showers. You're waking up at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. You do 2 workouts a day. You're doing a weightlifting session. You're doing like a cardio session. You have the most perfect diet ever. And there's like 0 excuses involved, right? And don't get me wrong. It gives people structure, identity, and temporary motivation. Keyword there, temporary. But now here's the problem. Motivation, as we hopefully all know by now, is a terrible long-term strategy because studies consistently show that extreme restriction leads to rebound behaviors. And now when you rely on willpower instead of basic, simple systems, the brain eventually rebels. Research on dietary restraints, so when you restrain your diet, also shows that rigid dieting increases binge eating and weight regain. So people who finish their diet tend to binge more on their diet and actually regain all the weight back again, especially after the restriction ends. And that is why most people don't fill the 75 hard. They finish it, but then they collapse after because realistically speaking, the challenge is not designed for sustainability. And you know this going into it. You know it's not sustainable to wake up at 5 a.m. every single morning, to take cold showers, to do 2 workouts a day, to eat only clean, to have no social life. And knowing that, why would you put yourself in a position to follow an unsustainable plan, but you want sustainable results that last forever? Following an unsustainable plan, but you want sustainable results. The 2 and 2 do not go hand in hand. So especially if your goal is to lose fat, but not just lose fat, but actually keep it off for good, challenges like these will just set you up for failure. It's inevitable. It's just a matter of time. Now, don't get me wrong. If you just want to lose 20 pounds and then gain it all back again, just for funsies, be my guest. Do whatever floats your boat. But I work with hundreds of people and they have all tried these stupid challenges. And they all come to me afterwards and say, hey, I tried this, and that. And yet I'm here on the phone call with you. And they wonder why they're stuck. Well, it's because they're following an unsustainable approach. Because you finish the challenge and then collapse right after. And then what happens? They gain the weight back, sometimes even more than before. Right? Moving on to part 2. The real reason why people regain weight. Here's what no one tells you. Fat loss isn't about how hard you can suffer. It is about habit sustainability. Studies show that the biggest predictor of long-term fat loss is adherence, dietary adherence, and not the intensity. I would far much rather you lose half a pound a week for the next year than trying to lose 2 pounds a week for the next year. One of the approach, yes, may be slower, but you actually, because it's more of a slower process, You don't burn yourself out as much. You actually build up the habits that you need in order to keep the weight off. Whereas the extreme, fast, shortcut approach doesn't teach you anything. It just teaches you intensity. But I think a lot of men, guys who are watching this right now, like we know how to be intense. Like we don't need to be reminded to work hard, to put in extra hours at work, do the extra reps at the gym. Like as guys, it's easy. But where you fail is when it comes to your diet, stopping when it comes to putting food into your mouth. That's where you lack discipline. You have no discipline whatsoever when it comes to that. Programs that allow flexibility, like ours, for example, outperform rigid ones long term. 10 times out of 10. Consistency beats perfection every single time. And I've seen this with hundreds of our clients, guys who tried 2-a-day workouts, extreme cardio, cutting out entire food groups. This is one of my biggest pet peeves. The keto diet, are you serious? Do you really see yourself never eating carbs for the rest of your life ever again? Once again, I get it if it's a short-term thing, but play it out, just play it out. Okay, I'm gonna follow this unsustainable short-term approach by cutting out an entire food group, never eating carbs again, never eating fruit again, vegetables, never eating bread, pasta, pizza, sushi ever again. Sure, you may see results by doing that. I mean, you will see, if you don't see results doing that, then I don't know what you're doing, but you will definitely see results. You'll lose a bunch of water weight. You'll probably lose a bit of fat. You'll definitely lose a bit of muscle too. You're going to end up looking soft. Your performance will suffer too. You'll have no energy. But yeah, you'll lose a bit of weight. And then what? You're just going to keep on following the keto diet for the rest of your life? Of course not. So many people, they'll do a specific diet they see on the internet. Intermittent fasting, keto diet, carnivore diet, vegan, paleo, animal-based, whatever. They'll do it for a couple of weeks. They'll see a bit of results. But then as soon as they live life again, they go outside, they socialize, they go out for lunch, they go out for dinner, or they just have more cravings, whatever. They want to go out for dinner with their kids, with their spouse, with their girlfriend, with their friends. As soon as you enter life, as soon as you enter reality once again, you will start to realize that your approach is not meant to be sustained, and it will not get you sustainable results. And that is why I and all of our clients are able to lose weight and keep it off for good in a fun, enjoyable way that is not restrictive. We still eat out. We still eat our favorite foods. I eat sushi more than I really should be, but I'm still able to maintain six-pack abs. I'm a big foodie at heart. I'm a fat kid. Like I used to be a chubby kid growing up in the Netherlands. And if you were to tell me, Conan, you can never have carbs for the rest of your life ever again, I would be angry. I will be very upset. And now, of course, I can sustain that for maybe a couple. I mean, yeah, I've done 3 bodybuilding shows. I know I can suffer through 2-a-day workouts, intense cardio, intense workouts while eating 1,500 calories a day. I know I can do that. I know what it's like doing that. But I know it's also not sustainable. I can do it for a brief period of time because I entered into a bodybuilding prep, which I knew going into it was going to be unsustainable. But I also knew that after the bodybuilding show was done, that I would go back to my regular eating habits again. But my regular eating habits includes eating whole natural single ingredient foods 80% of the time, allowing for some flexibility the other 20% of the time, but more importantly, hitting my calories, hitting my macros that are aligned with my goals. I knew that after the bodybuilding show was done, that I will go back to those eating habits, those eating behaviors again. So I went into this bodybuilding prep. All 3 bodybuilding shows that I've done, I went into it with pre-existing healthy eating habits. But a lot of people do it the other way around, where they have crappy eating habits. They have crappy behaviors when it comes to exercise, portion control, sleep, hygiene, you name it. And then they enter an unsustainable challenge. And then once that challenge is done, they go back to their old habits again. But their old habits were bad habits. And that is why you continue to gain the weight afterwards. Right? And so with these challenges, you do 2-day workouts, extreme cardio, cutting out food groups, and then you burn out fast. But the guys who lose 30 to 50 pounds and keep it off, they do the boring, repetitive, repeatable things, which includes 2 to 4 strength training sessions per week, not spending hours in the gym 6 days a week, just 2 to 4. That's all you need. You can even do them from the comfort of your own home. Most of our clients actually start with home workouts. Number 2, walking daily. This is a non-negotiable part of my lifestyle. Every single day, whether it's cloudy, sunny, raining, I walk. I get my steps in. I get fresh air. I get vitamin D. I listen to a podcast while I do it. So I instantly get rewarded as I do the behavior. I eat foods that actually I enjoy. I can't remember the last time I ate a meal that I prepared for myself that I did not enjoy. So many people think they need to eat boring, bland chicken, broccoli, and rice. And yes, the 75-day hard challenge teaches you to do that. But that is not sustainable. Who wants to eat chicken, broccoli, and rice 6 times a day for the rest of their life? No one. Absolutely no one. Even pro bodybuilders, yes, they'll go through seasons where they do that. But forever? No, of course not. Arnold Schwarzenegger, like back in his prime days, yes, he was probably eating like that. But now, no, like he's retired, he's old, I don't even know what he's eating right now, but he's definitely not eating that, right? But then even current bodybuilders, they'll have their in-season, when they're on prep, they're dialed in, but then they'll have their off-season where they party, they eat a bit more junk, they sleep in a bit more, right? So eating foods you actually enjoy, and then lastly, living life without guilt. That is it. Moving on to part 3, my personal experience. I have been that guy who thought pain equals progress. And once again, as guys, we always think that. We watch the hardcore movies, we watch these boxing movies as a kid, we watch all these motivational videos of people telling us just work harder, work harder, work harder. And yes, there's a strong correlation with the amount of hard work you do and the amount of results you get. But if you're only able to work hard for a certain amount of time and then burn out and then do nothing for the rest of the year, then how much over the span of the year did you actually work? Because I guarantee you, the person who just walks laps for the entire year will far surpass the person who tries to sprint it from the get-go. Because the guy who sprints, he'll gas himself out after maybe 1 or 2 laps. Whereas the guy who walks, maybe it's slow, be a bit slower at the start, but then he'll very easily, very quickly surpass the guy who gassed himself out, who burnt himself out by sprinting it. Slow and steady always wins the race. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So once again, I've been that guy who thought pain equals progress. I've done extreme dieting. I've done overtraining. I've chased that hardcore identity. And yes, it works short term. Anything works short term. Anything you want to try doing works short term, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for long-term results, sustainable results, because it never lasts, everything that I did. And what actually changed my physique, what actually changed my body and kept it lean year round was building systems I could repeat on my worst days. That is the key right there. If you can follow a routine, even when you feel unmotivated, even when you feel tired, even when you feel lazy, that's when you know you have found a good routine for yourself that doesn't rely on willpower, on motivation, that doesn't need you to get psyched up or amped up in order to do something. That is the true sign of you knowing you have dialed in your habits. That is the difference. Moving on to part 4, what actually works instead. So let me quickly talk about the Barbarian method, which is the method we use instead of our coaching program. If you want to lose fat and keep it off in 2026, here's what actually works. Number 1, train, resistance train, workouts, 2 to 4 days per week, not twice a day, not punishing workouts, not doing workouts you hate, just workouts that implement progressive overload, have you get stronger over time. That is it. That is how you build muscle. Nothing crazy. No fancy Instagram workouts, no crazy cardio workouts, just sustainable, enjoyable workouts. Number 2, eat food you enjoy. No elimination diets, nothing extreme, no cutting out carbs, just foods you enjoy. Of course, we still got to eat our protein, we got to hit our fiber, but we still got to eat foods you can eat with your family too, because you're not going to live in this box for the rest of your life. If you're able to eat family meals while reaching your goals, oh my goodness, you're winning. All there's have to do for you from there is just being consistent. And number 3, build identity-based habits. This is where so many people go wrong. You don't just do a challenge. You become someone who trains, who eats well, and who moves daily. You need to perceive yourself. You need to identify yourself as someone who does that. I am Cohnan. I am someone who works out regularly. I am someone who eats healthy regularly. I am someone who moves my body daily regularly. That is who I am. That is part of my identity. And as soon as you can tell yourself that and you have evidence and proof to back that up, you are going to be unstoppable. Because I also don't want you to be delusional. Like, you can tell yourself one thing, but then if you look at your actions, at your past, and they're not aligned with what you're telling yourself, then there's incongruence there. There's misalignment there. But if you tell yourself you're this type of person and you have a stack of evidence and proof that you are who you say you are, you have so much confidence and you have so much evidence to fall back on to tell anyone that, hey, I am someone who works out. And if someone questions that, you can show them your proof. Hopefully by taking off your shirt, by showing them your six-pack abs. But then even just mentally from like, hey, like, here's my logbook. Here are my training sessions. Here are my progress pictures. Here's where I started from. Here's where I am now. Here are the actions that I took in order to get to where I am now. If you say you're someone who eats healthy, I'm probably going to ask you, show me your MyFitnessPal app. Show me your calorie tracker. Show me proof. Show me evidence that you say who you actually say you are. Because you become someone who trains, eats well, and moves daily. And this is what my clients do. And this is why they don't rebound. So let's actually talk about some client stories. I've had clients who came to me after failing the 75-day hard challenge, the keto diets, the carnivore diets, you name it, like all of these stupid challenges. And once we focused on sustainability, they actually lost the 30 to 50 pounds. And not just that, they kept it off. They gained more energy, they gained more confidence, and he took control. No extremes and no burnout. So if you're heading into the new year thinking you need to completely punish yourself in order to change, please stop. Because I assume this isn't the first time you've tried doing a New Year's resolution, a new fitness challenge that you may see online that's trending. I assume this isn't going to be the first one you've done. But then, once again, going back to what you've done in the past, your previous experience, how did that end up for you? How did that work out for you? Did it work for you? Clearly not, because you're trying to do another stupid challenge, thinking that another stupid challenge will actually save me this time. Get your head out of your ass. You know it's not going to work. You know it's not going to be sustainable. So why do you keep putting yourself in that position? It is not good for you mentally. It is not healthy for you. Learn from my past mistakes. Learn from my past clients' past mistakes. So if you're heading into the new year thinking you need to punish yourself to change, to stop. You don't need another challenge. You need a system that fits within your life. So what you can go ahead and do is book a free consultation call with me down below, where we'll essentially go over your current goals. We'll see exactly how much weight you're looking to lose, whether it's 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 50 pounds, 100 pounds, whatever it may be. We'll see exactly what's holding you back right now from achieving that goal, whether it's the lack of time, lack of structure, lack of accountability, lack of motivation, whatever. And then together, we'll create a game plan to help you absolutely crush your goals in the next 3 to 6 months. If that sounds good to you, the link will be in the description down below, and I'll see you all there. Peace.